Hello, everyone. We're so excited to be connecting with Native Earth in Toronto. The Urban Indigenous Collective here at LaMaMa is a very important initiative for us. And we're working on creating a platform for Indigenous arts and culture. Today, you're going to be, we're presenting a workshop presentation of Murielle Borst-Tarrant's Don't Feed the Indians. So this means that it's still in development. You might notice that the actors might go to script, or they're, you know, as I said, this is all a part of the process. So we're so excited to be making these sort of connections and sharing and creating dialogue. And we hope to continue to do more of this in the future. So thank you so much, Toronto, Native Earth, and enjoy.
The Creator sent the immortal beings to the earth and named them Young Yellow Mother, Moon Night Child, and Red Dirt. The beings had different journeys. Some came from the stars, some came from the underground, some came from the water, some came from the fire, and some came from the sky. The beings came to create and give the gifts of song, dance, and storytelling. Some older, some in the middle, and some very young. The beings saw that there were many things that needed to be done here. They dug into the red lands and created the small ones. The beings made the animals. The youngest being created the children. The female being created the women. The male being created the men. The beings made rivers, valleys, the plains, and the islands. They constructed the small hills that snaked out of the rivers. The Creator saw the love they had for this earth and made them the protectors. They gave the songs and the dances to remember the beginning.
Walked, and in the evening, he or she would thrust the pole hard to the ground, and they would rest. In the morning, whichever direction the pole leads, they would walk in that direction. They walked in that direction, she would thrust the pole deep and hard into the ground. Then they would rest. In the morning, ancestors walked.
We came from the stars.
They would walk.
Down to the light.
Walk.
We came and we
She
formed
would thrust the pole deep,
We
hard
looked and
into
we
the ground.
walked. We looked
They would rest.
and we walked.
I'm so glad that we're going to doing this today. And let's all give them a really big hand because they were so great. And I'm so happy that we're going to bring these good people into our homes.
What good people?
Oh, Virg, you're so silly. I think you're a little cuckoo.
I'm the one who's cuckoo? I think you're cuckoo.
You aren't the first person to call me cuckoo, by the way.
You don't say.
Nope. I was at the UN the other day.
You don't say.
And this Frenchman, he asked me, he said, where's the cafeteria? And I said, you lost it?
You don't say.
He said something in French and he pointed at me.
You don't say.
And he said cuckoo. And I asked my friend Tanya and she said that it meant very pretty. I walked through the UN all day and everyone called me pretty.
You don't say.
Who was that?
He didn't say.
You know, Virg, may I speak frankly?
I prefer you spoke Georgian.
Who's George?
Your brother.
He's here?
No.
Then why'd you bring him up?
I didn't, you did.
My poor brother George. My poor brother George. Oh my God, Virg, my poor brother. He got held up the other day by 2 men. My brother got held up by 2 men. You hear me?
Yeah, your brother.
He got, yeah.
He got held up.
Uh-huh.
By 2 men.
Yep.
Now where'd they go?
Up the street. Forgive me, love, your way higher. I wait for you, your way higher. Till you come back, I still love you higher. ready?
Yeah,
You
all
ready?
right, yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
You
let's
got me?
hear it. You got it,
Okay.
you got it.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Dishes.
Dishes who?
Open up! Dishes are Navajo police! You get it?
No.
Why not?
Because my dishes don't talk.
I just don't understand this whole thing called discovery. I really don't, Verge. I don't understand this whole Christopher Columbus thing.
And why is that, B?
They say he discovered America.
Right.
My cousin, he discovered a whole house with jewelry, furniture, and silverware. And no one gave him a parade.
And what did he get?
10 to 20. I saw the strangest movie the other day.
What was the movie? Was that?
About the Stuttering King.
The English guy.
Yeah.
All right, the King England.
Yeah, they made a movie about it.
You don't say.
Don't start that again.
All right, so there's a stuttering king. It's a bad title.
They didn't call it the Stuttering King, you idiot. They called it the King's Speech.
Why'd you say so? I saw that one last week.
I just did.
All right, so you saw the King's Speech and you didn't like it.
Well, my brother, he stutters all the time. And they didn't make a movie about him. And they don't call him a king.
And what do they call him?
Stuttering bastard.
Good one, babe.
Young Yellow Mother, Moon Night Child, and Red Dirt decided to stay on the land with their chosen. They had happy times, sad times, and some bad times. They created together, danced together, sang together. But then one day an odd thing happened. Others came. Ones that the beings did not understand. Ones that had an odd way of speaking. Ones that had crosses and black robes. Ones that the beings thought very interesting. But the new ones who came said odd things, that the people from the land were discovered, and the beautiful land that the beings created was now theirs. How could that be? The odd ones said the dances were wrong, the stories were wrong. The beings said nothing, for they thought these new ones who came were actually very silly. How could they be discovered when they already existed? The odd ones declared the lands to be empty terra nullis. If those of the land were not Christians, then they did not have title to the land. They only had the right to occupancy. The beings watched the songs and dances get distorted, and the odd ones called it their divine right. But the beings thought this was gonna be hell.
Hey, look, white man.
Durgon neighborhood.
Terranellus, 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 Terranellus.
You see, you are a savage race, sunk in the
Some of the kids in school wouldn't be jealous of my simple achievement. He says, hey, how about you go with us to the dairy barn after school to get a cold float to celebrate in your honor? We get in his car. We drive toward the dairy barn. We drive past the dairy barn. He says, we'll show you what we do to you good Indians. Then he hit me. He hit me. He hit me. And he hit me. I fell to the ground, and they kicked me hard. They picked me up, pushed me against the car, pulled down my pants and my underwear. And he raped me. He raped me. He raped me. Then he raped me. My mind rose and floated above the car. I look down. I want him to move, but he can't. I don't want to see what I'm seeing. I wake up. And we are driving back toward town, toward the dairy bar. They stop in front of the dairy bar, and he says, if you ever tell anybody, I know where you live, and I'll kill you. They let me out of the car. He says, goodbye, Indian. I walked all the way home. Dad was asleep. I cleaned myself up. I never told anyone. I am the National Native American Youth Poetry Contest winner.
I said the fry savage warrior that we have here today. This is Red Dirt. Our first number will be Red Dirt, and he's going to perform for you a traditional warrior's song.
On the banks of a river stood Running Bear, young Indian brave. On the other side of the river stood his lovely Indian babe. Yeah. Little White Dove was her name. Such a lovely.
All right, thank you, Red Dirt. Let's give Red Dirt a big hit. That was, he gets carried away sometimes. Thank you, Red Dirt. Excellent. Thank you very much. You know, our people, we've had to communicate with nature for thousands and thousands of years. And we're very happy to have our special guest here tonight, Bird Sister, who's going to perform with Young Yellow Mother and traditional bird calls.
Part of the room. Quite
I'll tell you what I feel. It's
then they
just
explode
a nickel
in every part of this dark room. And then I can see.
Oh, you can live like hearts and flowers, and every day is a wonderland, and a hero for every dream and scheme, depending on weather. All through the storm, you've kept it warm through the ceiling. Then every wave to the audience.
Hi, how are ya? 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 How you doing, Vern?
All right, how you doing, babe? Good to see you.
You know that my grandfather, he was a politician, and he ran for tribal council?
So what happened?
Well, people didn't know if he could do it because, he liked to drink. And so part of his campaign is that he had to prove that he reformed.
So what'd he do?
He went from house to house, and when a man came to the door, he would have a drink with him.
Why?
Well, he wouldn't drink with a woman.
Huh. Oh.
He would make a pledge, and he would say that this is the last drink I will ever take, and he would take one. Well, after 40 pledges, they had to carry him home.
On a stretcher, huh?
Oh no, by that time, he was so stiff he didn't need one.
Sounds like he certainly had a happy campaign.
Oh, yes. One night, he decided to have a torchlight campaign. And what he did was he had this parade, and everyone had torches, and my grandmother and the whole family, and they went around and around in the house, and my grandfather, he came out onto the porch, and he made a big speech.
So it was a good speech then.
Well, who knows? They were too busy putting out the fire.
Well, at least he tried.
He did more than that. My grandfather, you know how they have campaign promises?
Right.
So one guy got up at the council meeting, and he said, if I'm elected on tribal council, I'll make no crime on the reservation. Another guy got up, and he said that if he was elected for tribal council, that what he would do is he would get jobs to the reservation.
That's good.
My grandfather, he got up and said if he was elected for tribal council, he would move to Brooklyn.
So he didn't win then, huh? Was the end of his life in politics?
Oh, well, it really wasn't his fault because he decided to join Buffalo Bill's Wild West show.
So he got bit by the bug then?
Oh, no. That was my Uncle Frank. He got bit by the teensy fly in World War I.
Okay, so what happened when he joined Buffalo Bill's Wild West show?
Well, he couldn't sing or dance. So he decided to play, City Folk. He wore these big fake braids, and he had a tomahawk, and Buffalo Bill would come out and he'd beat him up.
So he quit then?
Why would he do that? Give his life up in show business? Every spring we went on tour.
And what kind of act did you have?
I had a buffalo act.
You had a real live buffalo?
No, I had a black cat named Smooth Bear. We did feather acts.
And what did you do?
Well, she had to pick up the feather with her mouth.
That doesn't seem so hard.
Well, the trick to the feather act is that you gotta dance around the feather, and you can't put your hands on the ground, and you can't put your knees on the ground.
And what about your feet?
You can put your feet on the ground.
Well, that's a good thing. Did she do it?
Of course not, Virgin. She was a cat. But Smooth Bear was a very interesting animal.
And why was she so interesting?
One time, I taught her how to beg, drop dead, and roll over. But when showtime came, she just went on stage and had kittens. And to make it worse, she could only do it once.
I don't get it.
She was a cat.
Oh, I guess she was on kittens once. Okay.
You're an idiot.
Young yellow mother, moon night child, and red dirt tried to live a life in harmony with these strange ones. They really did. They thought if they sang and danced like them and acted like them, that they would be taken
Native Americans for the first organic Native American musical. I would like to introduce you to the most fantabulous, the fantastic, the omnipotent, the creative Madam Director.
Thank you. We are here doing the organic process today, and we're going to do Tiger Lily because we're going to do Peter Pan.
Yes.
Because last night we had some sort of row, and they talked about it was some type of human rights violation. Have you ever tried to live on an actor's salary? Now that's a violation. And last night a little Indian, she pointed a little finger at me, and she called me a racist. A racist. It wasn't like I was on stage with blackface yelling, "Oh, the golden slipper."
Or you put a noose around somebody's neck and hung them from a tree.
And doing West Side Story. So I would like everyone to introduce themselves. Nikki, please.
Would you, okay, you start first, ladies.
What can you tell us about yourself?
Well, my name is Judy Tuhorn.
Oh my God, that's a native name.
It's Lakota.
Lakota dances with wool, and I remember this from my training. It is not tribe, it's nation.
Exactly.
Nation, I love
I'm
that.
an indigenologist.
Oh,
I
that's
know
right.
those people.
Very rare to be an indigenologist like you. To study all of us all of them the way you do. So, what you have, and can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I've studied at AMDA. I've taken classes at HB. I've studied exclusively with a lot of people, Patty LaPone, Audrey McDonald,
Do
all
you
those big
know
names.
anything in your language?
Yeah, actually I do. I can speak sign language.
That's fascinating. See, this is how it starts. It starts with a kernel, and then it gets big, and it turns into a tree. Okay, so here we go. Show us.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's...
What was that?
That was my last name.
Nikki, please. We're going to have a breakdown by the end
The
of
Jewish...
I'm sorry, I'm not Jewish.
Don't tell me your problems. Can you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, I'm Denise. And I got a BFA in the musical theater. And
Well,
I'm
can
married to
you do?
Chippewa.
Oh, wonderful. Trail of Tears and all
Yeah.
that. Yes, we understand. We do. We really do. Now, do you know anything in your language?
I can do a traditional
Jewish one, please.
Thank you.
Come on forward, Jewish
I'm
girl.
sorry,
Yenta
really,
forward,
I'm
Yenta
So
forward.
what are you going to do with us today?
I'd like to sing Edelweiss from Sound of Music.
Love Sound of Music. It's the story of my life, except there are no Nazis, and I didn't have to go over the Alps.
And I auditioned for that role.
Oh my God, did you get it?
Murielle, I would have been fabulous.
Oh yes, you would. You would, absolutely. So please, shall we?
Oh, sure. Okay. Edelweiss, Edelweiss, every morning you greet me, clean and white, pure and bright. You're so happy to see me.
Blossoms of snow may you bloom and grow, bloom and grow forever. Edelweiss, Edelweiss, bless my homeland forever. That was lovely, Nikki. I love you. I love you, darling. Put her back.
Just go back to lunch.
Put her back. Can I have the big bone one?
Who's that? Is that me?
Okay. So what do you have for us today?
Today I've prepared a very special song from my youth. You might know it. Memory from Cat.
Oh my God! I can't believe it. I cannot believe it.
For that musical
did?
too.
What happened?
What part?
Isabella.
Oh, you did.
Ah, it was
Excellent,
amazing.
Grisabella.
Oh my God.
See it.
Okay. Yes. So, give us. Are you ready?
May I have a moment? I just want to find my note.
Okay.
Okay. Tom, can you give me a D?
That was a wonderful interpretation. Stop that noise! Yes, and we hear that you are a dramatic actor.
Yes.
So please, give us a monologue. We have this on the resume.
Okay. I prepared a monologue from my favorite foreign film, Under the Sun.
So let's continue.
Nicht Schneidbrot! Lebe was schneiden! Nein! Nino, was schneid!
That was very interesting. Interesting, marvelous. So now, you may go back on.
Thank you.
Girls, we're gonna do a little ditty of a dance. You do know how to dance. don't you?
Yes.
On the count of 5, 6, 7, 8, you're gonna start, all right? 5, 6, 7, 8.
That was wonderful, Nikki. I cannot believe you're on that. Please, thank you. Put them back in line. And we're going to
found out that my character was actually raised in England.
Why would she be raised in England?
She was kidnapped.
Kidnapped when?
Well, you see, she was working at a house, and there was a servant, and he was English. He was an aristocrat.
Then why does she have a Cockney accent?
Because of Sarah,
Who the hell's Sarah?
the maid that helped me. You see, she took me to England and raised me as her own. But I really wasn't her daughter, you see, because I was Chief Joseph's favorite niece. Anyway, I was raised in London, and I learned how to cook and clean. But I was such a good maid that I was put in one of the great houses in England. And there was a duke, and he had a son, and the son fell in love with me. But, you know, he asked me to marry him. I couldn't say no, though. I couldn't say yes.
Okay, so you said no.
Yes, our love was not meant to be, understand?
Oddly enough, I do. But that accent, it's too jarring for this scene. We need something different.
Yes.
Oh, I could do something different. I have a different history with each accent. I could do German. I will just bring me in my old pantaloons.
Yeah, no.
Well, I could do Spanish, you know? I'll just bring me in my old pantaloons, okay?
Okay, all right. No, that's not gonna work either. Listen, we're gonna restage this a bit, okay? We're gonna have you come in right after the granddaughter's line. We will go, grandfather, okay? No limp and just a plain accent. You got it? Reset! Okay. Scene!
I will fight no more forever.
We will go, grandfather.
I'll just bring me in my old pantaloons.
Stop! I told you no limp. Why does she have a limp?
I got a crook in my knee after I was kidnapped by pirates.
What? How did you get kidnapped by pirates?
Well, I was picking shells for my uncle, you see. And these pirates came along, named Cain and Abel. I didn't get along. Anyway, they put me on this ship, so I fought my way off that ship. And then there was a Chinese princess with a tattoo across her face. And then she helped me get off the ship. But then there was a favorite love slave, and they wanted me to be a love slave. And her name was Maggie O'Doul, and she got really upset that I was going to be the new love slave. So she punched me in the eye. Now I can only see out of this one. And you know, the scurvy got into my leg.
Okay.
And I smoke a pipe because there was this one pirate that liked me.
Not the one that wanted you as a love slave.
No, that was Patty from County Cork. This pirate was Ange McVie.
And did he know your uncle?
Yeah, he met him when he was in the Civil War. He was in the Indian Wars.
I see.
Anyway, so he got me off the boat.
Who?
Ange McVie.
Ange McVie got her off the boat.
And all I got is this pipe to remember him.
Now you gotta smoke it.
It helps with the limp in my leg.
Right. Okay, let's try something different, shall we? Now, we need to restage this a bit. Please.
Yeah, we can do.
All right. I'm gonna have you sit right behind these two, granddaughter and your uncle. Okay. Now think of all those things that you just thought of in your head, right? But no limp, okay? No smoking a pipe, and your head is gonna come out ever so tenderly. Right after we will go, grandfather. Just a plain accent. Okay, you got it? All right. Reset! Scene!
I will fight no more forever.
We will go, grandfather.
I'll just bring me my own pantaloons.
Stop! Why do you have crossed eyes?
Because I sleep with my mouth open at night.
And that gave you crossed eyes.
No, I got a cold. They had no antibiotics at the time. It got so infected that it crossed my eyes. My eyes never been right since.
Okay, you do realize this is a drama.
Oh,
Yes,
of course.
it's Mama.
Okay. All right, come here. Here's your intention. Okay? You are almost on your deathbed. Your uncle, who you're leaving behind and you love very much,
No.
is not going to be around much longer. So you're looking over the homeland. Okay? You're very sad. And you're very weak. Now say that line with those intentions. Now let's reset. And you're sick. All right. See. Any type of sick that you want to be, okay? All right. Scene. Unbelievable. Scene.
I will fight no more forever.
We will go, grandfather.
I'll just bring me in my own pantaloons.
Stop!
What is...
Where are you coughing? Where are you coughing?
You told me I was sick.
What kind of sick makes you cough like that?
I caught tuberculosis.
Uh-huh. From the pirates?
No, they didn't have tuberculosis. I got it from Agnes.
Agnes, who's that?
She's my friend who was on the other pirate boat.
Uh-huh. And how did she get it?
Well, you see, she had a husband, Ollie.
Uh-huh.
And her husband, Ollie, he really loved her. So he paid me to take care of her, you see. But she didn't die, so it was okay.
She didn't die.
No,
So where's she now?
back in England.
And she didn't take you with her?
Not enough room on the boat.
Oh, I see. Okay, listen. We're going to work on this just a little bit more. You've got a lot of great ideas, so I want to bring you out front and center.
No.
Now, this is a drama,
Yes.
and it's very serious. And you're going to sit here, you're going to think about all those things that you just told me, okay? Now, you're going to be sad, and you're going to try and cry. And it's like you're then one day, they felt something. They weren't sure what it was. It started small, and it rippled across the sky. And it was getting as big as the night. Something was happening. Things started to sound like it did in the beginning. Not quite, but almost there. They were, after all, the special beings who created. So they were the first to hear it. Then there was another small rumbling. Then there was a change and a big boom. It started with one voice, then two voices, and suddenly it was a chorus. A collective song came across the land. It didn't matter where you came from, but it was loud and it was great. They knew they had to listen. They weren't sure what was going to happen, but they knew it was going to be good. And it sure as hell was going to be fun and great to be an Indian.
Take it anymore.
We're sick and tired of tom-toms, and we're not gonna take it anymore!
No more tom-tom.
No more tom-tom!
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 And now, ladies and gentlemen, we take you to the reality show of Captain John Smith and Pocahontas in family therapy.
Now, when did these issues start to occur?
Before or after she moved her family into my house?
You have one hell of a nerve. Who built that house? Put in the floors? Drove our aunts around? Who? My husband, that's who. Will you just keep on reminding me of that? Meanwhile, Daddy over there is the one that paid for the house. Right, Daddy? Don't you talk to Daddy right now. He's had an ulcer for weeks.
They never leave my house.
Don't talk about my husband. You know what? No one bought that story about your husband being, possessed by gypsies. Would they put a spell on him? Yeah, sure. I poured rum down his throat and took his paycheck. They needed that for the spell to work.
They never leave my house.
Listen, now, can we try talking to each other and not at each other? And let's try and not assign blame here, okay? Now, Pocahontas, if you can please tell your family here today about the turmoil and the inner trauma that you have felt since your raccoon left. It's okay. This is safe space.
He was my best friend in the whole world. We danced together and sang together. And then one day after school, he was gone. And I looked and I looked and I looked for him, but I couldn't find him. I sang the song that we used to sing. Around the river bend, around the river bend. I called my raccoon Zuzu, come back!
It's okay. Look, since we're here today, in honesty, in a place of honesty, and this is a huge breakthrough for you. Seriously, this is huge, huge breakthrough. But your sister here, she has something that she's been wanting to tell you, and she's been keeping secret for many, many years. Please.
I just want you to know
she made us all clap. And she said, if you believe in fairies, she'll come to life. And everybody in my family, they all clapped hands. And we really believed, and we clapped, and we clapped, and we clapped, and Tink came to life. And everybody cheered. So what I know from that story is that you have to have hope. And my family had hope at that table. One day, we'll all be gone. The elders are gone. The old house that I grew up with is going to be gone. We're no longer going to live in it. We'll go to another family member. But we'll have those memories. And in those memories, there has to be the hope. We have to have the hope.
We have to have the hope. We have to have the hope.
I'm an imperfect human work in progress. I'm an imperfect man who has tried to love, but always seems to have lost. You may see me as ugly, fat, deformed, not masculine or feminine enough, and possibly because I chose not to follow the prescribed social written notions for how to be a man. What is my paradise? My paradise is imperfect. I think we have to start with the self. We have to look inside the self and then begin to bridge the gap between surviving to living. My paradise is imperfect, but I am beautifully imperfect, and I'm making this connection with you. That's all that I have to offer, and that is my paradise.
That's all we have to offer.
That is my paradise.
Ever since I was a child, my dream has always been to be an actress on the Broadway stage. For people to see me for me and my talent. I've been told so many times that I'm too ethnic looking or not ethnic enough or that I'm too ambiguous. I often get mistaken for Spanish, but then casting directors get upset with me when they find out that I can't speak Spanish. My dream is that I don't want to have to lie in an audition and say that I'm something that I'm not. And to be allowed to make a living doing something that I actually love doing. My paradise is my son and my daughter, for them to be happy and to be healthy. I want them to learn about their culture and not the stereotypes that they see on TV. I want them to be proud of their heritage and not be ashamed. They are my heart and my soul. They are the future. My son and my daughter are my paradise, but our children are the paradise.
Our children are our paradise.
Our
children
are
are
our paradise. My hope, my paradise. When I look in the mirror, I see a pale-faced Jewish Mohawk girl from Atlanta. But when others look at me, what do they see? What is an Indian image? Am I thin enough, fat enough, smart enough, dark enough, Indian enough? I ask the question of what is Indian enough all my life, and I cared about what others thought up until I grew up. And now I care even less and less what others think, because what is an Indian image? What is an Indian image? We are not all one of a kind. We are not all one of a kind. We are not all one of a kind.
What is my paradise? Well, for us to know that it's okay that we don't all look alike. It's okay that we come in different ways. It's okay that we don't have answers. It's okay to know that there never will be an answer. It's okay for us to look different. It's okay to be half. It's okay to be a fourth. My paradise is that we stop counting numbers. We stop counting blood, and we start counting each other. I want us to know that it's okay to cry. It's okay to feel. It's okay to feel something and say something and for your voice to be heard. But it's not okay to make tradition out of abuse. It's not okay for us to use tradition as a way to say it's okay to be raped. It's not okay for us not to have clean water. It's not okay that we have to still fight for our voices to be heard. It's not okay that my family has to fight for their rights. It's not okay for us to have to fight for our land. It's not okay. okay that our dances aren't taken seriously, our songs aren't taken seriously, and our art isn't taken seriously. It's not okay. And so, for me, my paradise is that someday people will understand that it's not okay to make fun of us, it's not okay to make fun of our dances, and it's not okay to make fun of our genocide, because my genocide is not your genocide, it's our genocide.
I know that there is hope in this world, that there is love and dreams do come true.
What are the wishes?
The wishes are for hope.
For us, for love,
For independence.
For a right to exist.
for the beginning and the end.
For the hope.
For the dream.
For the generations that prayed before us. For the generations after us.
And the generations after us.
For the
Generations
earth.
to come.
For the hope to come alive.
This is for all the Native American men who have been abused and then became abusers. This is for men who love men, women who love women. This is for those who have never been loved, but hope for love, because there is love.
This is for all the missing and murdered Indigenous women. This is for the children who lost hope, and for the women that we love, for the men that make us whole, for the ancestors' dreams.
This is for the generations after us. For the pain to leave. For hope to stay alive. For Misty and for Jalen.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in who came in. I would just like to give special thanks to the cast for the reading. I'd like to thank Tim Dorsey, who has been one of our consultants, and I really have to thank all this technical stuff and everything. For my first time person ever be doing anything with theater is Kimberly Terrence. And I'd like to give her a big hand. This has been very, very hard. We've never did this before, and this is the reason why we do things for our communities, to teach somebody something different so they can look at the horizons. You're great, and we couldn't have done any of this without you. I would like to thank Maggie, my dear Maggie, and she did all of the costumes and the set designs. We don't have a lot of time, so we were going to do a quick sit down about urban issues on our panel. And also, I would like to dedicate all of this is to my family who's out there. They should be listening. If you did it, you're in big trouble. And to Tanya Ganella Fishner, who's recovering from her hospital stay. I love you. You better be watching this. And the Native community that's here. So we're just going to briefly talk a little bit about what we think. And I'd like to bring two other people. I'll bring the costume designer and Tim Dorsey on. Can you hear me? And can I have a time limit here? Somebody, we're not going to be here for long. So what I would like to, how many minutes do we, how much? We have 10 minutes. So I would just like to talk quickly, if we talk about urban issues, really quick, and that's a very long subject other than 10 minutes. But one of the questions I had is, how does this piece, and when you're working on this piece, how did it reflect urban issues? And since that's such a broad subject, and when other people are talking about urban issues as urban Indians, what does that mean to you? Let's start with you real quick.
What was that? What does it mean to be an urban Indian? I think, to me, being an urban Indian is just, being American Indian or Indigenous, however you would like to acknowledge yourself. And I guess just sort of, I think, being from New York City, a lot of times I was just talking about this the other day. I relate to, they were talking about, the name of, Nuyorican and being Puerto Rican, but being, urbanized and being from New York City. And to me, I really relate to that sort of title. I mean, I'm not Puerto Rican, but I relate to the title of being from New York City because I am Native American and I am Indian. And, like, I mean, of course I care about my culture and I do keep up with it and I am involved, but I definitely think I'm urbanized. But I don't feel that also you should be punished for being urbanized either, because just like everybody else, it's all a part of, like, the system of oppression and colonization, and you can't help something like that. And I think it even shows that you're even stronger to get through being urbanized and being in an environment where you're constantly surrounded by people who don't relate to you and then still working through it. And so, yeah, I kind of relate to that idea.
Well, for me, it's about giving voice to Native American men who, as I said in the last statement, who are abused and then become abusers, to give them a voice because they need the assistance as well. It's very important that women continue to talk about domestic violence, Native women, but men also need that voice as well. So being an urban Indian, I think it's important just to begin that discussion, to put it into people's minds that we all need help. And thankfully, you know, as it always begins with the women, and then hopefully now the men will begin to take up this cause that we, although we are injured, we can heal ourselves.
Well, for me, again, I grew up in Brooklyn, and so it seems very strange when I tell people that I'm Native American. They kind of look at me like, you don't live on a reservation, so how could you really be Native American? It's like, well, I am, both sides. So, I mean, it's very awkward, and I've had casting directors kind of look at me Spanish, and it's like, no, I'm really not. I really don't know Spanish, and I'm sorry. But, I mean, I think so many issues here, and I try and keep up with it as well, but it is, I think, different than being on a reservation. So, you know, being an urban as compared to being on a reservation. So we just try and, we're all one. So.
I love this process where we're able to share this kind of theater with the masses, because it's all about education and educating the public about issues that we're going through. As a person that grew up in Atlanta in the South, I saw a lot of racism, but more from my Jewish side, because people didn't look at me as if I was an Indian. So I love this process because it shows you that all of us are Native American people. And we've been here for years. We've transformed over the years. We have the same kind of identity issues that a lot of other people of color and multiracial backgrounds endure, and also with religious backgrounds. But this is a wonderful creative process that I think will allow people to understand where we're coming from in our history. So about being an urban Indian, well, this is it. This is definitely this is definitely the platform worth sharing. Thanks for listening.
For me, being an urban Indian was something that was very shocking to me. I'm not going to lie. Growing up in Oklahoma and moving to different major cities, I had no idea that there was a whole group of Native Americans, Indians that identified as urban Indians. Whether it's lifelong or temporary, all of us living here in the city, I think that, and as I've gotten older and hopefully wiser, I've just come to realize that we have enough that we have to fight for in terms of just being Indian every day, and to sort of have a line between who's Indian and who's not based on where you grow up or where you live. We just don't have time for that.
So what I'm going to talk about with you, since you're not an urban Indian, this is our local, he wants to be called our token white man. And so, Tim, I just wanted to talk about conversations that we had briefly about racism and when it turns into a black and white issue. And we are never put into that process. And you having many experiences with, can you talk a little bit about that?
Briefly. Sure. So, yes, I'm a non-native white New Yorker. And I'm a writer, and I'm currently a graduate student in an MFA program, but in my background work, I've worked in a philanthropic foundation and doing social justice work, and a lot of it around racial and economic justice advocacy. And yes, I think oftentimes Native communities are at the margins even of those conversations for equity, and especially even in conversations around cultural equity and within the arts community. So for me, to be connected to this workshop and this production really as an apprentice to Murielle and as an observer to the tremendous work you all are doing. It's a huge learning opportunity for me to see this incredible opportunity that's being created here, and I think through the work of LaMaMa and a lot of these great partnerships, to re-center the conversation and use the phrase that our friend Tia Oros-Peters uses all the time, which is to re-indigenize the work that we're doing, and to think about the theater community, say, even the nonprofit, the sort of lefty downtown theater community of New York, to see that re-indigenized or indigenized through a process like this, I think is tremendously exciting. Because yes, oftentimes in the mainstream, Native communities and Native work are doubly, triply marginalized. And something that some of my partners in work over the years, so people like Lori Puryear at First Peoples Fund and Tia Oros-Peters at Seventh Generation Fund and Tanya Granello-Fritscher have talked about, is the unique relationship of Native people in this country. So while all people of color are doing advocacy from a rights-based perspective, Indigenous peoples have a political relationship with the government of the United States. And that relationship is often not acknowledged and not understood, I think, in the mainstream. And I think that crosses over into arts and culture.
He gave us an extra 5. So I just want to talk about something really briefly. And I want to bring this up because it's the elephant in the room. What is happening in December, and the reason why I'm doing this piece, in December, they are doing a revival of Peter Pan. And in the revival of Peter Pan is going to be all of these songs that are in this, the Ugga-Wugg song, the Indian songs. And when I started first talking about it on Facebook, I was attacked on Facebook saying that how dare I say anything about Peter Pan in musical theater, because at least they cast a Native person. And we should be happy that they're giving this to us. And for them to say that to me, and what are we supposed to do? Whitewash all racism. Then the whole question came about West Side Story, how, it really came down to, they basically said, and I lack of a better word, the Puerto Ricans ruined the revival of West Side Story because they put Spanish in and it was culturally correct. So all of us who do musical theater, who have that perspective, and what I would like to briefly talk about that for 2 minutes, not just but theater and images and that, but lift off from the Peter Pan thing.
I think studying musical theater as a major, and then, just kind of the more history you learn, the more you realize just how limiting it is. If you go into it with like an optimistic kind of like point of view, you're thinking that like, oh yeah, there's going to be something out there. And then you get into it, and then you do history, and then you start to workshop, pieces so that you have a repertoire, and you learn there's nothing for you. Like there's absolutely nothing really for you. I mean, there is, but not really. I mean, like it feels like almost everyone kind of gets their due, is how I felt kind of studying, and we really didn't. And I mean, that can be bothersome once you kind of realize that, because it's very hard to try to like, I guess, relate to anything when you're like, this is fucked up. Like, how come I don't have anything? Like, why does everyone else have something? Like, I can't even like think straight about this. And I think, I think, in musical theater too, it's like people sometimes, really want to emphasize. I mean, I love musical theater. I don't want to like talk it down, but it can get on my nerves sometimes. And that just like, I feel like a lot of times people want to talk about types, and because it's not just Native Americans who are being marginalized in musical theater. It's like almost pretty much every race. And so what I kind of learned, like the more I studied about like race, and the more I studied about musical theater like simultaneously, it's just kind of like, they make it very clear that musical theater, I'm talking from musical theater, not theater perspective, but musical theater is made for a certain type of person, and that's it. And it's going to remain that way, and it needs to remain that way. I think it's important to remember that musical theater is an American, I guess an American art form. It's really kind of like all they have, if you think about it. I mean, as far as like Americans, there's no real background or history to America. So all they're really depending on is musical theater, and it's like these crazy storylines that they've sort of created around like, well, this is why colonization is okay.
because everyone was happy, like, you know, and there's always like these ways that you find like overlooking, and it really reflects, you know, now I'm supposed to be doing art and I have to live in the reality of like my own, you know what I mean? It's just, I don't know.
Thank you. What I was really getting at is there has to be a game changer, and we have to talk about the game changer. And going from musical theater is not the bad guy. Americana is the bad guy, I believe, because musical theater is part of the Americana. And when you start stepping on the Americana in this country, you get attacked. And I think it's very important to understand that we need to really look at the images that are coming out. You know, we're having images about Redskins. We're having these images that are coming up. And so now a network is now doing Peter Pan. And is it a small thing? Yes. They also said Tonto was a small thing for us to be upset about. And I think that we have to start saying things before it comes out. And then, again, you have political people who say, well, we have so much going on in our communities. Why are you worried about musical theater? Why are you worried about these images? When I believe that there's a direct result between sexualization of Native men, Native women, missing Indigenous women, and these images. And Peter Pan, Tiger Lily is a huge sexualization. No, it's not old people. It's not old people who are doing it. So, and then we'll talk a little bit about racism. 2 minutes. We have a minute each.
Well, I just think that we as Native people need to begin to look inside and address our own intertribal racism and how it affects us individually, how we compete with each other, how we will murder each other in order to get that part. So there's plenty of space for all of us to be creative and to be artistic and to express ourselves, and also to move further away from the stereotypical notions that we've internalized and then present on the stage. So that's why I think something like this is important, to show a different voice, a different look, that we are different and we can be different, and we're not just one-dimensional.
I would just say that more Native Americans need to actually put out work. Like, we need to keep doing work. I mean, we need to keep putting ourselves out there and not fall to the stereotypes that are out there and that are constantly being thrown in our face. But we need to do real work. And, you know, if we want more musical theater, then we should write more musical theater. If we want more film, we should be doing more film. We should be putting ourselves out there and not being stereotyped.
I completely agree. I completely agree. All right. So breaking stereotypes is a huge, huge, huge ordeal for me as an individual, and obviously everyone on this panel and in this play. Obviously, we do have to have acceptance among our community of different types, of different looks, and also create our own musicals and plays and films. We have to continue to go on that journey ourselves. In order for anyone else to recognize that we look different and see different, we have to accept that we do look different and we see differently.
I just quickly wanted to also say that it's important to note that a production like this is Native made and Native owned, and a huge part of breaking down these walls and stereotypes is humor. Because it takes away that anger, it takes away the ability for the people looking at us, to not just be caught up in all the anger. We can laugh at ourselves. So, we can laugh at ourselves, and nothing that is in this production, the images you see, these headbands, these are all in satire. This is not something that you should take away and think is serious. Kevin's headdress, So I think that's just important to note that humor is a major part of that. We really need that, and
Okay, and then going on humor, and then I will go to my husband. We have 1 minute. The humor is very important. Now, we talked about humor, and people over the years have been talking about humor, how important to our culture, and what that means. This is a satire. This is us making fun of ourselves. This is us really going out there and saying, well, if we look ridiculous, you imagine how you look with a headdress on Halloween. And, and now Thanksgiving's coming, so who knows what's going to happen after that. And then we have Peter Pan. So to take those images, embrace them, and make comedy. And I believe comedy is one of the most important things that Native people have. I think comedy is the way to take the darkness and to joke about it, because if everything is so serious, we'd be dead. You know, I mean, it's really, we have to really look at the humor and figure out the humor and know that this is our humor and this is the way we look at things. On that last note, I would like to briefly put in my husband, my better half, Virg. He has a minute. Can you talk a little bit about Native humor and how you saw the process and racism and pull it together? Mr. Executive Director of American Indian Community House. You have 1 minute.
60 seconds. Okay. Well, I mean, as everybody mentioned, humor is a big part of what we do. And what was taught to me was that if you can't laugh, then you got to cry. And that's one of the things that we strive for, because it hides the pain. But it also makes a point, because people don't understand, you know, like you said, you can be serious all the time and tell stories, and nobody wants to hear about it all the time. If you put it in a funny way where they can laugh at it, but then they think about it. And that's what's most important, is making the audience think. Because these images, they are hurtful, and people do get offended. And people don't understand that is a problem. But you need to teach them and let them know that. And that's part of this process. And that's the main focus of this process, is re-educating. You know, re-indigenizing, as people like to say now, which we still haven't had the full definition of, but we'll use it in our own fashion, because that's what it is to us. And when I say that, it means just to make somebody think differently. They walked in here today, they think differently when they leave, and that's what's most important.
Okay, thank you, everybody. That's the end of our panel. I'd like to thank Billy here, who is the head of Culture Hub. I'd like to thank the whole staff, Esso. She was great. And I would just like to say, no more Tom Tom. No more Tom Tom. And I'm